Wait, okay, I just realized that I don't know how I'm gonna rap and beatbox at the same time. Hi guys. Okay. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is CJ. Yes. I'm currently 19 years old. I'm a college student, and welcome to my life, I guess. I wanted to start off this channel by doing like a 3-part video series, I guess. So this first part is I'm just gonna talk about my health this past year, because it's been a journey. And so for this video I'm just gonna talk about kind of like the facts of what's been happening in my life, and then I'll do a second part of the medications that I've been taking to try and kind of figure out how I'm gonna live the rest of my life. And then the third part, I think I want to talk about how I've been emotionally impacted. Because this part, I'm just going to talk about the facts, like what's been happening, and my physical, I guess, side effects and symptoms of it. So I guess let's dive in. This all started December. It started about a year ago, actually. I had just come home from freshman year winter break of college. Did I say that right? I think so. I just come home from college, and I was starting this new job. It's my first job ever, and it was retail at a store for tweens, I guess I would categorize it. And you know, it was my first job, so I didn't think it would be stressful at all, but apparently it caused my body some kind of severe stress to the point where I was experiencing these extreme abdominal cramps. Like, it would literally knock the wind out of me when these cramps would come, and I was so confused because I had had these cramps before, and they were centered in like my lower right abdomen and my lower right back. But I had always brushed them off, thinking like, oh, it's probably just like period cramps, or like when I played volleyball in high school, when I would go to hit, you'd twist your back, and so I thought the back pain was just like an overextension maybe of my back. I look busted. That's okay. Like just something like cramps, or like, I don't even know, but I didn't think that it would be what it turned out to be. And so eventually, while I was at work over winter break, it got to the point where I had to go see a doctor. I almost went to the hospital, but I didn't, because I pushed through the pain that I was experiencing. But eventually I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to go to the doctors. And the cramps that I was feeling, I don't really know how to explain it, except it felt like, okay, I've never been stabbed, but it felt like I was being stabbed and kind of twisted just in the lower right part of my abdomen, but also it was this pulsating heat pain that would start in one spot, and it would kind of radiate and get bigger and bigger, and then it would peak, and at its peak I was bent over and just I couldn't breathe. It was hard. It was hard to function. I would have to sit down and just kind of curl up into a ball, and then it would go away for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then slowly it would creep back, and I was like, why? So eventually I went to the doctor, and then they did an ultrasound, and they found that I had an ovarian cyst and a kidney cyst, both on my right ovary and my right kidney, respectively. And they weren't too worried about the ovarian cyst because, you know, it's like more common than you would think for a woman to get an ovarian cyst. And basically what an ovarian cyst is I believe it's like an egg that didn't get released all the way through the fallopian tube, or like it ruptured, like it's something about an egg not being freed properly, I guess. And it like hangs around and causes shit to go down. And then, so they weren't like too worried about that because a lot of women get it multiple times throughout their life. It's just, it sucks, but hashtag womanhood. Bow, bow.
Hashtag womanhood. Bow, bow.
But they were kind of worried about the right kidney cyst, just because they didn't know if it was benign or like they didn't know what was happening in that situation. And so I think, okay, they were talking about getting a biopsy of it, but I don't think they ended up having to, because we did like another sonogram like a month later, I think, just to see if it was still there, if it had grown or anything, and it was gone. But I was still experiencing these symptoms, like the intense abdominal cramping. I was nauseous, like fatigued a lot. And like the nausea and fatigue, I just always thought, oh, it's because I'm anemic, like whatever. And I also was experiencing like, okay, TMI, but like bloody stool. And so that should have been like a warning sign earlier that something was not right. And so my doctor, about a month later, she was like, okay, you're still experiencing symptoms. It's been going on for a few years. I think it's time you see a gastroenterologist. And so I had to see one up in Bellingham because by this time winter quarter had started. And so I was back up at Western. And so I went to the GI, I believe in January. And they were like, okay, I mean, like, your symptoms, they suggest it could be like IBD, which is irritable bowel disease, which is either like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. I think those are the only two. It could be IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, which is not a disease, but basically it means you're just sensitive and you have to watch your foods, and like your stomach is sensitive, your GI tract is pretty sensitive. Or I could have colon cancer, like colorectal cancer, something that old people get. And so we had to schedule a colonoscopy, and like, old people get colonoscopies. 50-year-olds. When you're 50, that's what you get, not when you're 18 and supposedly healthy. You don't get colonoscopies. And so I was like, grrr. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like, the prep kind of sucked because listen, if you don't have to have a colonoscopy until you're 50, consider yourself lucky, because it's just an unfortunate time. Mostly because you can't eat, and I love food, but also because your poop becomes water. It's so TMI. Basically, we scheduled the colonoscopy for February. I remember I got it on February 26th, which was the day before my dad's birthday. And when I woke up after the procedure, the doctor comes in the room. I'm still drugged and like drowsy, and I was like, hello, doctor. How was my butt? Like, I think I said some dumb shit like that. Like, you find anything good up there? I should not have said that, because she was like, she just kind of looked at me, and I was like, oh, fuck. She was like, okay, so we found something. And at first, like, my heart started pounding. I was like, the what did you find? And she was like, it's not cancer, so it's okay, but you have Crohn's disease. So February 26th was my diagnosis of Crohn's disease. And basically Crohn's disease is your immune system attacking itself. But it attacks itself through your GI tract, which runs from your esophagus. It's like your esophagus, through your stomach, through your intestines, to your butt. So it's like a long little, it's a big part of your body, your GI tract, I would say. And so my Crohn's is present in my like ascending ileum, I think that's what it's called. But basically it's present in parts of my large intestine and then at the very beginning of my small intestine. And so moving forward from that diagnosis, you know, our next step was we had to do an upper endoscopy just to make sure that the disease hadn't spread to my upper GI tract, which includes like my esophagus, I think, and like I think my stomach, because I'm pretty sure colonoscopy, it's like your bum through your intestines, and then the upper endoscopy is like your esophagus through your stomach. And so I got that upper endoscopy in March. I got an MRI on my birthday just to see like kind of overall, to see parts of it. I'm not really sure what the MRI was for, but I'm pretty sure it was just to get like an overall view of my like of my torso area, of the entire tract. Got that on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. And luckily they didn't find any disease that had like the disease hadn't spread to my esophagus or my stomach yet. It was mostly centered in my intestines, like mostly my large intestine though, and then like part of my small intestine. And so they put me on this medicine, sulfasalazine, but that's for another video, which I will post soon. I'll post that soon. But yeah, so they started me on these medications, and then all is fine, all is dandy until about, and it was May 2nd. I woke up, it was like a Wednesday. I remember because I had a midterm, and I missed it because I woke up in this excruciating pain in my lower right back, and I was like, oh, help, and I like tried to wake up my roommate, and I did, and they ran to get the car, but the car wasn't where it was supposed to be, and so I was just like in pain. We ended up having to take take a hospital to the hospital. We had to take an ambulance. Pro tip, the Wii U, the ambulance is not worth the money. Just fucking call an Uber or a Lyft or like fucking, I don't know, ride share, but like don't take an ambulance to a hospital because it's so much money on top of medical bills, like but whatever. So I ended up having to go to the hospital, and they like couldn't diagnose me with anything. They did, I think they did a CAT scan. Yeah, they did CAT scan to see if, you know, anything had ruptured, if my Crohn's disease like had like if something had happened, and they couldn't find anything, so we just like chalked it up to being probably just like a really bad flare-up, like a symptom flare-up. Because, okay, so the thing is, so with Crohn's disease, you're either in a flare-up or in remission. You're not like, you don't just like go through days, oh, I'm in remission, and then experience a flare-up. Like, you go through days while you're in a flare-up, but you have severe symptoms of that flare-up. And so that's kind of like the flare-up, if that makes any sense. But also, the thing with Crohn's is like you could be experiencing extreme symptoms but not be in a flare-up because there's no inflammation present. And when there's inflammation, that's a flare-up. When there's no inflammation, you're in remission. Or you could be totally fine, be like, oh, I have no symptoms, I feel great. But you could have like a nasty little flare-up going on. And like you don't know that until until you get a colonoscopy just to check out your insides. But yeah, so they gave me like painkillers, like painkillers basically, anti-nausea medicine, and they sent me home, and I was like, okay. And then everything was fine for another month, but literally 1 month later, June 2nd, I wake up. And so June 2nd was the Saturday before Dead Week of spring quarter. So I wake up, excruciating pain. It's the same pain. Like, I can't even describe it to you, except for the fact that I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. The pain, it fucking sucked. But I wake up with the exact same pain, and I had to have my friend take me to the hospital again. But this time, I couldn't pee, I couldn't poop, like, all I could do was throw up. I was just in so much pain, and they gave me medicine, and it took a while to kick in, but ouch, just big oof is all I gotta say. But they did another CAT scan, and I think, yeah, they did an ultrasound as well, and they found that I had 2 kidney stones, one in my right kidney and one in my left kidney. But since I hadn't gone septic, and since like I didn't have a fever, I was just throwing up. They're like, we can't really keep you overnight. You're just gonna have to try to pass these stones on your own. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Basically, I was able to pass the right kidney stone, which was the bigger one, but I couldn't pass the left one, which was so small. And the pain was so severe that I was actually in and out of the hospital for that entire like Dead Week. Like, I missed all of Dead Week, and I eventually ended up missing finals for spring quarter, but the left stone wouldn't pass. Like, it would not pass, and I was in such severe pain. I feel so bad for my mom, because she was staying up in Bellingham with me while I was trying to pass this stone. We were staying at a hotel, and like, I feel so bad, because like, I wasted so much hot water, because the only thing that would relieve the pain sometimes is just sitting in a hot, like, I think I almost burnt my skin. Like, I might have had like a slight burn on my back. But like, the hot water was the only thing that would relieve the pain, and I would literally sit in the shower for hours, and like, that was the only way I could sleep some nights and some mornings. And my mom was like concerned that I would catch pneumonia, but I didn't. But the left one wouldn't pass, so eventually we just had to do a procedure, and they had to laser it out. And that was that. And so apparently kidney stones, so Crohn's, you get like a plethora of side effects and other things that can come up because of Crohn's. And kidney stones is one of them, because apparently with Crohn's, Crohn's disease depletes this bacteria in your body, and that bacteria is responsible for breaking down the formation of kidney stones. And so with Crohn's depleting your body's supply of that bacteria, it makes you so much more susceptible to getting kidney stones. Yeah, so in June, the whole kidney stone ordeal, thankfully, that was like the last bout of my hospital visits for the year. And like, with this diagnosis, as I've said, Crohn's is a disease that I live with for the rest of my life, because there's no cure for it yet. And with the medicines that I'm taking, we're still trying to get me into that remission. It's been hard. It's been very hard. But I will not get into that now. That will be in the third part of this series. I guess the last thing I'll say, I'll just list some of the side effects that I've experienced due to my disease. Well, we have the kidney stones, we have the anemia. I also have some arthritis. I'm literally like I'm a 90-year-old stuck in the body of a 19-year-old. Like, yikes. The pain, you know, when your body is constantly attacking itself, it makes you tired all the time. Like, I nap so much and I'm still tired all of the time. Some days it's just it's too much and I'm like tired and I'm nauseous and I feel so terrible because I've had to cancel plans multiple times. It just kind of, it sucks, but I won't get too much into that right now. Like, I guess the biggest issue besides the Crohn's, like the biggest physical issue, besides the fatigue and the pain, would be the fact that like I get sick so easily, because my immune system is not as strong as a normal person's immune system, because you know, it's attacking itself, and so you're not strong when you're being attacked and when you're attacking. Like, it's just tired. So like, it makes sense why I'm tired all the time, but I don't like that. The fact that I'm tired all the time, and like, but you know, that's for another video. But yeah, so that's been my life this past year, and that's actually the reason why I'm not up at Western this year and I'm going to Shoreline, is because we're trying to get this under control, and like, we're trying to get me into remission so I can be healthy and I can be successful up at Western, because it was really hard for my parents to have to drive back and forth from all the testing and the hospital visits. It's just, it was not an optimal situation. So yeah, stay tuned for the next videos. I'll try to post those within the next few weeks. I mean, break's coming up. I am going on vacation, so I might not have that much time to film, but if you guys watch this all the way, thank you. It's what a life. What a life I live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry, it's a pretty long video, so honestly, if you stuck all the way through, thank you. And I'll see you guys next time on Life with CJ. I'm just kidding. What should I call this YouTube channel? Comment down below, subscribe. I kill myself with laughter.